I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Please call the roll.
Here.
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 I'd like to do the pledge, please. Now time for public comment. Do we have anybody wishing to address the board? The format of the board is that everyone is given 3 minutes to address the board.
Hi, I'm Amanda Pennington with 3A's Sign Language Interpreting Services. I'm here with a concern. I've been serving the community college here since 2019, and my agency is named 3A's Sign Language Interpreting Services. Hi. Okay, so my concern is the withholding mileage payment for the services rendered. Up until now, we've been paid mileage, and there was a change of administration. I don't know what happened. It fell through the cracks. We never signed a contract, and I'm currently in a 3-year term. The first year has finished, and everything was paid as requested. We're currently in the second year, and the mileage is being subtracted from my invoices. So what I'm here about is to give you these papers with my concerns. So that's basically it, unless you want me to get further into it. Everything I'm concerned with is here.
Thank you.
Yep, I'll give these to.
Time for an enrollment update, please.
Came quicker than I expected. Good evening. Just a quick update for enrollment for spring of 2025. Our enrolled student head count year over year. Last year we had 1,824 students registered at this point. This year we have 1,782 students, so that's a difference of 2.3%. We are still projecting that we will be at a percentage above average. We're looking at just projecting what our enrollment will be. We're looking at an overall increase of 5% for the spring 2025 term. As always, we usually see our largest push for enrollment and the increase in the student registration go up the week after we return from break. So we're looking at that week of January 13th. That's usually when we see the largest break. I do want to highlight for our Nelson campus, they're up 15% this time from last year. So a huge thanks and great job to Tim Bell and his team at Nelson.
Thank you, Sharice.
Thank you. Can we get the healthcare strategy presentation, please?
Kyle.
Hello, I'm Kyle Knietman from the MJ Companies, the college's employee benefit consultant. We recently had our midpoint meeting with the leadership of the team, and I just wanted to provide our feedback from that meeting as well as a recent employee survey that went out regarding employee benefits, our second of which in the last 4 months, a new initiative that we have this year to survey the employees and the team members on employee benefits. So our employee survey assessment, it closed a couple of weeks ago. We had an outstanding result at 154 participants in the survey. 89% of those that responded to the survey across campus are covered in the college's medical plan. Some of the interesting things that we found in this round of the surveys, based on the questions we asked, that actually 72% of the respondents prefer high deductible plans with lower payroll deductions. So it's something interesting to consider about when we go into next year's renewal. 87% of the team members and employees and staff value the HSA contribution that the college provides. We've done a really good job of keeping that contribution significantly higher than benchmark nationally, and I think we're starting to see some of the trends and towards the HSA population and the HSA plan in the population. 70% of employees feel their benefit contribution is fair. 46% of employees prefer email as a method of communication, so something to know moving forward in the way that we continue to communicate benefits to the team here at Lewis and Clark. And 48% of employees would prefer more health care options, so adding a fourth option, it might be something that we consider as we start to look into next year's renewal. Survey overview. So additional things that we captured through the survey were, and additional things that we're looking at are increased services around mental health, mental and behavioral health, more information and education around HSA and financial wellness, healthy aging as well as an important topic to the team, and strategies for various age groups and population within the population, and potentially to look at more voluntary benefit offerings, which of those are offerings that don't necessarily cost the college, but an employee has the opportunity to enroll in those benefits. Specifically, the benefits that came up were critical illness and accident insurance options. Some areas of opportunity that we see is to continue to find ways to decrease the cost of coverage for dependents on the plan. We took significant steps towards starting to do that this year, and that's something that we continue to have regular conversations on in all of our regular meetings. Better access to wellness screenings. So you'll see on the next slide we're going to kick off a campaign here in 2025 regarding some wellness activities and screenings and potential incentives, not paid for by the college, but funded through a budget that we were able to negotiate with our healthcare insurer, Cigna. Professional development, parental leave, short-term disability was another benefit we'll want to relook at and address during the next renewal. Continue to look at HSA contributions, and then highlight resources for local basic access to care. Early January, we had we've had a couple of wellness calls between us, the broker, the MJ companies, Cigna, and Lewis and Clark Community College in recent weeks and months, and we are finalizing some decisions on a 2025 wellness initiative to start in January. Again, I want to highlight all the dollars on here are funded by our healthcare insurance company, Cigna, so it's not going to be additional funds from the college. I will spare you guys on kind of reading through this entire slide, but some of the ideas that we've thrown out are things including some on-site wellness check-ins, maybe a potential cooking class, wellness bingo, and an employee appreciation campaign. And then kind of spreading that out through a few months before the renewal, and starting this as a kickoff in 2025. And then also in May, tying to Mental Health Awareness Month, a mental health campaign, and using the last part of our budget in May to highlight that, as we know that is really not just for Lewis and Clark, but across populations that we manage. Mental health and wellness is becoming a more important topic and more important to employee populations across the U.S. 2025 and 2026 initiatives that we're starting to discuss, and certainly no decisions have been made, and we're going to see some materialization in our claims experience data in the next few months as we start to go into our next year's marketing run. But some of the initiatives we're looking at for 2025, 2026 are evaluating, we've talked about this in the past, evaluating a self-funding model with a carve-out PBM to take advantage of potential rebates that might be out there in the market and dollars for the college to get back. We are looking at plan design considerations, as I mentioned on the slide before. People appear to potentially value a higher deductible plan with a lower contribution cost, and that might be something we're looking at because we have a pretty healthy HSA contribution. Consider looking at our plan design mix and our contributions. Dental-wise, we're going to evaluate the cost and networks on various dental insurers as well. And then potentially look at segmenting as opposed to one dental plan, see if there's any value to adding a high and low dental plan option for the population. So to give a little bit more choice for individuals based on their needs and their dental health care. And then we're going to continue to do these employee surveys and build off of them and build a database off the surveys and address how we're attacking the wellness plan. I talked about marketing the short-term disability and also looking at some of the voluntary benefits in 2025. So to get a little bit more granular, when we evaluate self-funding, we're going to evaluate fully insured and self-funding markets with Cigna and alternative carriers, ISL level means stop loss levels, potential captive opportunities that are out there in the market. Review drug spend and our pharmacy program. So we're getting a pretty robust feed to our firm from Cigna right now that's allowing us to granularly look at where our spend and our pharmacy mix is. Targeted communication. We've learned a lot through the survey process on how individuals and team members want to be touched and communicated to. So we're just going to continue to build off that communication strategy. We've recently helped Justine and the team with some communication for new hires as well to highlight how great the Lewis and Clark benefit package is and what it looks like for new hires. And then we're going to evaluate some point solutions. So one of the things that we've talked a little bit about are potentially like what it would look like to have a benefit wallet where everything that you carry around not just your health benefits but all your benefits is on an application on your phone that we can that has tangible resources and direct access to things like telemedicine care when you need it 24 hours, 7 days a week. And then employee engagement. In the employee engagement bucket, we're going to leverage the wellness plan and allowances wherever we go moving forward. So we'll request a budget, whether that be with Cigna or whoever we land with. We'll continue to look at having a wellness budget built in on a move forward basis through negotiation with these carriers and vendors. And like I said, we're going to continue to build off this employee survey. I really, really just want to thank the entire Lewis and Clark team and staff for promoting it. 154 responses is really, really good. We typically see 10 to 15% on a lot of populations, and to see 54% is phenomenal. And it just shows how engaged individuals are with their health on this campus, and I really, really appreciate that. Lastly, this is a little bit hard to read, but a timeline on how we get there. This timeline is now 4 or 5, a little bit shorter than it was before. We've knocked off some specific initiatives from the start of this year to the end of this year, but right now we're doing a recap with the board. Like I said, we met with the team last Friday to start to talk about some of our strategies and initiatives. January, February of next year, we're going to gather some additional maturity on our claims data to see where we're at. I think we've got some positive headwinds hopefully coming our way. And then marketing, start to talk about our marketing strategy and initiatives. We're hoping to start to initiate our marketing significantly earlier than it's been done in the past, around the February timeline. Some of that's going to be dependent on when we receive our renewal information from Cigna, but we feel pretty confident that, especially that if we do decide to make a change in the funding strategy of our program, that we're going to need to be a little bit out earlier with that this year, discussing that with you guys, with the financials and budgets, and making sure that it makes sense. By no means nothing's set in stone right now. We just certainly want to get an earlier jump on it this year than we've done in the past. And the ultimate goal is to hopefully push up open enrollment 3 to 4 weeks, about a month before we've done it in the past, and have that happen in May for a July 1st effective date. That's the end of my presentation. I'm certainly welcome if there's any questions at this time.
Thank you, Kyle. I also want to thank Kyle and his team. They've been super responsive to our really vision to not necessarily just speed up the process, but strategically accelerate sort of our evaluation and ultimate recommendations to the board. So thank you, Kyle. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the athletics update.
Cody Zitman, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Traska. First off, I want to spend my first 40 minutes of this report thanking all of you because I love you guys, okay? So the support from the board, Dr. Traska, the team behind me, I don't want to miss anybody at all before I get into this. So the maintenance team, the HR team, the enrollment team, the PR marketing team, the finance team, I talked about the executive team, the library team, the KD 1 and 3 teams, and the faculty. This has been a long year and a half in the 5-year retool, and we are in year 2. So everything that I fire out here, please feel free to ask questions on. But I cannot thank you enough for putting us in a position, everybody, to be successful, which is what we want the ultimate leadership to do. So individual team reports, volleyball, golf, women's soccer, men's soccer. They have completed their fall end season. Women's soccer, they were Region 24 champs along with our men's soccer team. The men's soccer team was ranked as high as 15 in the nation this year and was 1 win away from going to the national tournament. Justin Vernay and John Dunn both received Region 24 Coach of the Year awards for the 2nd year in a row. Aaliyah Amat was 3rd team All-American in Region 24 and Region 24 Player of the Year. Overall, women's soccer and men's soccer had 9 players named to the 1st team Region 24 awards. Men's basketball and women's basketball are currently in season. There's games tomorrow and games on Friday. Baseball, softball, and golf will start their spring seasons in February and March. Athletics personnel, and again, thank you to the board, 6 positions that we approved last March are all filled. 3 of those will start in January. John Dunn, full-time head men's soccer coach. Kevon Lacey, full-time head men's basketball coach. Isaac Moore, full-time women's basketball coach. Jenna Brown, head coach of our volleyball team. Dustin Duncan, the head strength and conditioning. And a shout out whoever had the list of me going after insurance. That makes me look a lot better. But Dustin Duncan, Didi, he's going to be a big part of that. Me and Gabe were just talking about that in that wellness program, which we oversee as far as tracking. We're going to institute workouts, basically programs monthly to the team once he starts in January. So that was a talking point actually today. And then Samantha Ersch, our compliance officer. By the numbers, I know everybody likes numbers on the board, so 183 student athletes. That was up from the spring semester of 153. Next year, remember in our 5-year retool that we talked about when presenting these positions, we are going to a 200 student athlete hard floor. So our whole recruiting process moving on basically from November 1 is to have over 200 student athletes next year. We have 3 video tech upgrades that happened. We used to share 2 video cameras the year before. We have 3 programs. It's the Huddle system, the VO system, and the Synergy. That has allowed us to basically stream all our games in 7 of 8 of our sports this year. It also has allowed us to have data platforms as far as reaching out to our recruits coming in. There's an open gym right now for volleyball that we can record for the coaches. We have never had that technology in our building, so shout out to KD3 team. The A to Z podcast, we started a scholarship with a partner. I'm sure you guys have listened to that. It's the #1 podcast on campus, the #2 being the No Box podcast. I'm hoping I have a job after this presentation. But so anyways, we started a scholarship in that, me and Jeff Alsman, as far to the digital streaming program. If you talk about our Instagram accounts, and basically Laura Enlow is here tonight in the PR marketing team, they have been wonderful. We have basically 8 Instagram accounts with the athletic department account attached to the Facebook. We post daily now. In there, our soccer team has 1,600 followers. Our women's soccer team has over 1,000, And I did everything possible tonight to say this number. The athletic department has 1,300 followers, and it started in October with only 270. So all of our PR marketing, what are we doing? All these numbers are up across the board, and we're actually seeing that in another aspect that we had to the website, which is our recruiting data forms. Within 2 months, we have had 91 students reach out to us on all 8 of our teams, and that is not counting the individual recruiting plans of each coach. The biggest number that I'd like to present tonight is we all talk about fundraising. So we did $120,000 in fundraising total last year. As of today, $101,000 halfway through the year from July 1 has been raised within the fundraising programs. What this has allowed us to do is, one, we're presenting packages to kids as far as gear, travel, and we're trying to offset and balance our budget. Mary Schulte just did a backflip behind me when she hears this. Riveting. But in the 3 programs, so we have a 3-tier approach, right, every year. First is our football pick'ems, right? It was up $12,000 this year. It raised over 20 grand. Our CSC and Levy events, so those are 2 companies we work at St. Louis Blues games and St. Louis City games. We have worked over 90 events. It has raised so far this year, approaching $50,000. It's currently at 44 and change. I'm upping that because I know a check's coming within the next week. That's going to bring us up to the 50. In our banner program, which is outstanding because we need to have that community engagement, we have 47 community sponsors and raising over $17,000. This has allowed us to create endowments for both the department. We know about the one endowment that is for basically to offset scholarship costs long-term. The fundraising account for the department to offset any, I want to say, curveballs, we'll say, for across whatever happens during the year. And then also, the great thing that's starting in January, and this is 1 year ahead of where I thought we would be, is the endowments per the teams. So in January, each team will have its own endowment that we're going to be building so we can offset operation costs per the teams as we move into the future. And each account has their own fundraising, or each team has their own fundraising account. Also in January, we are starting an athletic director scholarship. Hopefully next year that will come in effect to a student because we've identified some operating things that we need, right? Game-based setups, things like that, and it would be perfect for a student to do and lead our support teams. Athletics by culture, we have added a mini market in Riverbend Arena. We have adding we have staff whiteboards, TVs, PCs. Every room in there has a TV. Our dental atrium, who are our neighbors, we have added an area basically where they can hang out both in the skybox and the dental atrium. It's got pictures of them going through classes. It's got a messaging board system. It also has a whiteboard. Down in our gaming room for hanging out, it just came that, and it's just packed with athletes, and we have an open gym, ping pong, foosball, air hockey. We basically have turned Riverbend an arena where people want to continue to come back and hang out in. At this point, again, basically, I want to tell everybody across the board is I cannot tell you how grateful I am for you guys, for the opportunity. You have put us in a spot, and I hope we continue to push that with the rest of the full-time coaching models. Because of you, we are in this situation. So thank you. Any questions at all? Kevin?
I didn't hear you mention attendance at the games and that. How's the attendance going?
The atmosphere has changed. Like instantly when volleyball started, we have packed gyms. Now there's a strategic plan to this, right? So we have created 2 groups that has attached us to the students. We now have to have reps at SGA, so student government meetings, and also we started the Dog Pound, which is a supporter group. They basically act as in-house marketing and promotion. So we identify and we're trying to reach out to the standard student that is here to be involved and also the community, which has really upped our energy at the games. I mean, on Friday night, we're doing a Christmas theme night. So if you want to pack that Christmas sweater and come on out, we're going to have Santa Claus and everything else. So, I mean, it's a really tight family. of coming out.
So it sounds like you're feeling pretty good about it.
I'm feeling
Yeah.
great about it.
Okay. Another question. I think for fiscal year '24, your budget was $1,653,000.
Mary, come up to this podium right now. I'm just joking. Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, do you have a feel for, how did you come out? I mean, you're the head of the department, so.
I mean, basically, I'm trying to balance and flatline all of this, right? That's the big fundraising program. We talked about that in the past. We have the endowment program that basically is supposed to offset those costs on scholarships, which we basically have the full boat, 148 scholarships that we talked about. So in this whole plan, from when we met last year, you're in year one of all of this, of a 5-year retool, trying to bring that balance to the department.
Okay, sounds like we maybe don't exactly know how we're doing on the budget. That's okay, or how we did, I should say, because it's history. The last question I have is, did you get any feedback, either positive or negative, on eliminating tennis?
There was a few phone calls, but really, tell you the truth, when I find out, just like any student athlete, anybody that called, you basically sat down and explained the situation, the direction we were going on, and those people didn't realize a lot of things. Like, for example, your conference is one other team, and then they completely understand. So it was positive feedback in the direction that we were going. There was concern up front, but you're talking about 1 or 2 phone calls that came to my office. Thank you, sir.
I have a comment.
Yes.
I'm grateful for you too. I know you're grateful for us.
Thank
so
you.
we can
Thank
just
you.
have mutual
Appreciate that.
gratitude.
Thank you very much.
Do you do like any survey of the athletes to see how they're feeling? I know when we've gone to those little
Yeah,
dinner
well,
things in the past, they grumble about
So
things here and there. But
Yeah. So in my 2 pages of notes, I skipped over that, but I'm glad you asked, was basically, it's not a survey, but we have 3 points of the year that I meet with the student athletes team to team. We call them team talks. So at the end of September, we sit in a classroom, safe space, it's just me and them. We just finished one last week in December, and then we'll have another one that first week of May before they leave. That coincides with that feedback to the coach. I am in an individual coaches meeting week. So basically, you have team talk week, that feedback, then in with individual coach, and it happens 3 times a year. Of course, my office door is also constantly open, so really it's a transparent environment, or where they want to go. Notes are taken, and they've helped really tell you the truth from the beginning. Just like we explained the retool to you guys, it has been explained to them and our direction.
So yeah, it brings forward the question of, how are you evaluating your new coaches? I'm sure you're involved in
Yeah.
it. I mean, is there an official thing that's done, a documentation, or?
In the individual team talks, that's where it is. So you have the first 2, that's more feedback, both things and strategic, but that last one, that's the one on where we're going on, right? And that brings me into there are 10 trackers that the executive team and Dr. T get that track our fundraising goals from year to year to the T of where it goes on the team. Also, the roster goals from year to year. And then obviously the big point is our retention. Why is a certain person moving on? For example, when we get to the end of the 5-year retool, right, this is all culture building. Wins are a product of culture. We should start to see the wins. And if we don't, we reevaluate, okay, where are we here? Why are these people leaving or not coming back, or we're not getting these certain student athletes? It is a good thing if we lose those people at semester when they're getting plucked by 4-year schools, AKA Purdue, because we have national title aspirations. And in the soccer teams, we've already seen that. We had a few last year that got plucked by D1s at semester. The great thing about full-time coaches is, and I invite you to come over and experience this, it frees up all this time for stuff that we have never had in the past. Like right now, they have presentations and links of promotion and basically everything that we do, that the feedback from the outside person has been, we didn't get this at our D1 that we're transferring to. We didn't have this, and these are the things that I listen to on how we can be at that next level. Anybody else? Question for you guys. Ready? We are Oh, wait, that's not very
You
good.
still have,
We are? What's up?
you still have about 10 minutes.
10 minutes, you want me to go in more? All right, thank you guys, I appreciate
Hey,
it.
thank you, Cody, great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. Could you show a little more enthusiasm, please, next time?
Next up is the omnibus agenda.
The omnibus agenda is presented for a vote. Is there any item the board would like to be held out and voted separately?
I'd like to consider item I separately. Contracts requiring board approval.
Okay. Is there anything else? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the omnibus agenda, except board number I. Do you have a first?
Motion?
Second? Second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
McCaig,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Trent. Yes. Ware,
Yes.
Campbell, Wertz,
Yes.
Rest.
Yes.
I'd like to bring item I. Do we have a motion? Motion. Second?
Second?
Discussion?
Just, yeah, like a little discussion. I questioned item regarding the Pyros sign incorporated. That's about $100,000. I didn't realize, I guess, that well, I mean, I thought about it, but I was told that it was information technology item for purchase, which means that it's not subject to being going out for bids. I guess I'm asking for an interpretation of the rule on that. Does that mean that we're prohibited from going out for bids, or that we just don't have to if we don't want to?
No, we don't have to. We're not
Yeah.
prohibited from doing it, but I will say that this particular sign hasn't worked since I've been here. And original bids on that were around $270,000. And so about a month or two ago, as I kept getting feedback from the community, and part of this is we understood that we're trying to sort of do all of these signs in unison. The technology and the current signs, the ones you see on campus that don't work, we can't get parts for those. And so I said, let's start with this one on Godfrey Road, where I often hear from community members, why isn't that sign working? So I had asked Ron to investigate this, and he did get 3 quotes. For this, just to compare. The one we're going with went well beyond the expectation in terms of warranty. They're providing a 7-year warranty versus a 5-year warranty. One of the issues on this too is that this technology changes often, so this gives us a little bit more protection. The other piece too is this does qualify as an IT purchase, therefore, we went this route. So, and I'll ask, I know Ron and I have talked about this, and Mary, if you all want to add any additional insight, but,
I don't need anything more along those lines.
yeah, this.
Sounds like you got quotes.
We did our due diligence.
Checked around, you got quotes, and.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did, right. And plus, I think the good news is we're saving $170,000 off of what was originally anticipated to be the investment, so it's going to be really nice out there.
Was that for one sign?
It's for one sign. Yeah, the technology.
How many more of these $100,000 signs do we have to do?
This is likely the only one. There may be one when we come onto campus. If you notice that one near security, it's starting to go. The other 2 on campus, we're likely going to do something else there. So there's a wayfinding sort of plan in place right now that we're just debating on putting our arms around. Part of that issue is there's an option to do some temporary signage because everything's moving because of this main complex. So if we put new signage up, it's going to be pointing to places that won't actually exist for several more years. So we're working through it. It's, as the team knows, there's I think a $40,000 option for temporary signage, and I'm not, believe it or not, I don't really want to spend $40,000 on temporary signage, so we're trying to find a happy compromise in between. We don't know if we're going to go with similar technology because just of the life of these things. The one on Godfrey Road we feel is going to last quite some time, and plus we got a good warranty, and it's newer technology the original, I mean, gosh, how many years does that go back? 20 years? Yeah, and so and plus it's an eyesore, and we needed to start with that sign, and I think that's, I mean, I can't say we might not have other digital signs on campus, but we're not planning to put 6 more signs, if that's the question. Maybe one. Maybe when you first come on campus, there's a, welcome to campus kind of thing, and announcements, or, event in the theater tonight kind of thing, what you.
You can also rent temporary signs for like a special event or
Yeah,
something
like that. Yeah, yeah.
Well, they're like, I think they're mounted on a platform, but anyway.
Yeah.
We're getting into the weeds, but I did have one further question on that, though. Is that tied in with our software such that we can control that sign and what can't be hacked?
Yep.
Or as much as anything can't be hacked? Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
I've had more calls on that sign in the last couple of years, and it's really, we can do a lot of marketing on that sign. But it's been broke so long, people forgot it ever worked.
And we tried to repair it, and the repair, I mean, I did a repair quote, and then it didn't happen because of the parts. I mean, a repair could have been $100,000.
Well, we also, the landscaping was a mess. We finally got that done. Now we need to get the sign fixed. So, call for the vote, please.
Trent? Ware?
Yes.
Campbell? McCaig?
Yes.
Wertz?
Yes,
Johnson?
Yes.
Rust?
Yes.
motion passed.
Next is our action items. First up is Resolution 2412, review closed session minutes.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second?
Second?
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
McCaig?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Rust?
Yes.
Trent?
Yes.
Ware?
Yes.
Campbell? Wertz?
Yes, motion passed.
Next is Resolution 2413, review closed session audio.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second? Second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
McCaig?
Yes.
Ware?
Yes.
Trent?
Yes.
Campbell? Wertz?
Yes,
Johnson? Rust?
Yes.
motion passed.
Next is Resolution 2414, PHS nickel levy.
Do I have a motion to approve? Motion. Any discussion?
Yes. A couple things. So I guess I'm considering, in my mind, the two tax levy resolutions together. So my first question is the Resolution 2414, is that folded within or included within the 2415? So in other words, the 2414 is authorizing a nickel,
Right.
and then 2415 is authorizing a nickel for,
It's all together.
so it's not an additional nickel, it's the same nickel that we've been levying for
Yeah,
since 2012.
yeah, since 2012, yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. The other question I have, or two questions actually. The next one is on this resolution 2414. Now that is not calling for any issuance of bonds, of any bonds,
No.
right? No bonds.
Nope.
Okay. And so it's going to be like a kind of a pay-as-you-go. We'll
Yes.
fund these purchases out of the
Yep.
operations and maintenance fund, and then we'll replenish operation and maintenance fund each year
Yep,
as
yep,
tax
like we
money
talked
comes in.
through last
Okay.
month,
Okay.
absolutely.
Let's see, I think one other, two questions, I think, maybe just one. These items that are listed here, the music building roof and replacement, N&L Clear Story, window replacement, et cetera, we're not approving these projects.
These projects have already been approved by the board, and the funding source will be the PHS nickel levy.
I don't remember that we approved anything for the Benjamin Godfrey Mansion.
No.
No. So these haven't been approved.
Some of them have been approved on the deferred maintenance list, some of them have not, so,
Okay.
right.
Building roof is ready to go,
Yeah, I recognize some of them, or. Why don't you get up to the microphone?
Yeah, before we would start any project that hasn't already been approved to go out to bid by the board, we would bring it to the board for approval, so.
And we would correlate that back to the funding, that we have a funding. So on that deferred maintenance list, we have like the red, yellow, green. Most of those red have been approved or have been out to bid. So we have some quotes which gave us the gauge of where the cost of these projects would be. And so essentially we're saying in order to pay for these projects, this was a great avenue to go in extending this nickel. And what we've done already as a team is we met last week, because once the board acknowledged this last month and approved it, the goal was, okay, where do we start? And we decided to start with everything other than the 2 roofs and actually the mansion. We're going to focus on everything on campus first, other than the roofs, because we're trying to align the roofs with the actual construction project. And then we hope by, after July 1 to move into looking at the mansion. And we've got some thoughts on that as well in terms of ultimately what's the long-term goal with the mansion in terms of programs or other things that we might be able to do there. So, yeah, so I don't know if that answers your question or creates more questions.
We've never had any programs at the mansion before, have we?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
used to have
Massage therapy was
Not
there.
much.
food.
Not since I've been on the board
No.
for 5.5 years, that's for sure.
And it's, yeah, so. And
I just want to
if-
make sure that issue will be taken up as a separate issue and that we're not
Yes,
approving
yes.
it here,
Okay.
okay?
Yep.
Yeah, I had a question about the roof thing, but I think you answered my question on that.
Yep.
That's, to me, falls into the idea that it has to be done, and it doesn't matter whether the state of Illinois is going to help us on it or not, we have to do it.
Yeah.
And our taxpayers have to pay for it.
Well, and I would just say the scope, when our architects originally outlined the scope of that project in 2017-18, it was minimal roof repairs that was needed. So that's what was included in the project. As this project has drawn out, it's total roof replacements is what's needed at this point. So.
Yeah, I've got probably deteriorated some in 7 years.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it was in the original scope.
There
of
were
the project.
portions of repairs and patching that was going to be done in the original scope, but not the total 6.2 million.
It's
was
actually
not
7 million, or, yeah, 7 million, because you got to include, because
Right,
Wade is
because-
part of the main complex.
Correct.
So.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep, that's all I have.
Thanks,
Call
Kevin.
for the vote, please.
I have a question,
sorry.
please, Dwight, if you don't mind. Just technicality, do we have to have 2 resolutions, or is that required by law? Why do we have to have this one separately when it's included in 15? And also, will we have to do this every year, or is it just because we're restarting it?
We do the well, go ahead, Mary. Yeah.
I can sit back down.
Go ahead.
We are required to have a resolution that names the projects for the
Okay.
PHS levy. Now, there's different thoughts on whether or not that has to be repeated each year. Some feel like one and done is enough. We've always taken it each year, just because if we're going to err on one side or the other, that's the side I'd like to be on. We did incorporate the last extension of this nickel into the main resolution, and it's still there, that little paragraph, the 5th paragraph down, because it was short and sweet, and the projects do have to be named. I actually debated with Sue whether we should try to do 1 or 2, but I think trying to combine them right now would be a lot. So I opted back for the 2 resolution model.
I think it does highlight that it's a bit of a change.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It definitely this first year, and I think it's a good idea.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
Please call for the vote.
Yes.
Campbell, McCaig,
Yes.
Wertz,
Yes.
Johnson,
No,
Rust,
Yes,
Ware.
Yes.
Did I do Trent?
Motion passed.
Next is Resolution 2415, tax levy.
Do you have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
McCaig,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
Ware,
Yes.
Campbell, Wertz,
Yes,
Johnson,
Yes.
Rust,
Yes.
motion passed.
Next is to approve the revisions to Personnel Policy 112, part-time leave.
Do you have a motion? Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second? Any discussion? Please call the roll.
McCaig,
Yes.
Johnson, Campbell, Wertz,
Yes,
Rust,
Yes.
Yes.
Trent, and Ware.
Yes.
motion passed.
Next is authorized team member early retirement incentive payments.
Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
McCaig,
Yes.
Rust,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
Ware,
Yes.
Campbell, Wertz,
Yes,
Johnson.
motion
Yes.
passed. Sorry. Yes, sorry, sorry.
Next on the agenda is informational items.
Any questions on any of those as tradition? If not, okay. And
Okay.
so my report is short and sweet for a change, is just want to thank everyone, maybe sort of echoing Cody here in his enthusiasm, just thanking the board for a really great year. This is our last year, or our last meeting of the year, and just want to thank the team for just a remarkable journey this year. We're seeing some really good results across the board. I think there's some great synergy on campus. I think, you heard it in reflected in Cody's report, is there's a lot of good movement and transformation happening, not only across athletics, but across some of our academic programs. I know we'll have some updates in the spring on some of our new programs, some really exciting things happening around CBE. In March, we should have 2 additional programs done, and one of those submitted to HLC only because one has to be submitted. We have avionics, our metallurgy program. So there's a lot of really good things happening, which all reflect alignment with needs in the community, et cetera. The other thing is, and Melissa was part of this, we had a great student dinner last week, I think, and a small but mighty group, lots of good feedback and perspective and discussion around the student experience, the culture of the student experience, and just some opportunities for us to keep kind of working for our student to improve their time here at Lewis and Clark. And so we have 1 week to go, and we can get there, right? So just thank you again for a great year, and we look forward to 25 being yet another great year together. Thank you.
I'd like to wish everybody happy holidays, and this meeting is adjourned.